Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My Lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My Lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my Lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my Lord. These cases are in court, my Lord. I'm just reminding your Lordship.
My Lord, sorry, my Lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Legally Speaking on Planet Radio 101.1 FM and Spectrum TV. Star Times and free-to-air TVs. My name is Anthony Ebuka. I'm a legal practitioner with Law Partners and Associates. All right, welcome to a very fresh edition of Legally Speaking in 2023, the year of our Lord 2020, with the new President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, His Excellency, and our new Governor Udom. Oh, sorry, did I say Udom? Pastor Umar Basi, Legally Speaking wishes them the best of the next 4 years. All right, on Legally Speaking today, we're looking at a key institution, which is the presidency, and how the Executive Council is going to be formed. Then we'll look also at some aspects of the inauguration of the State and National Assembly. I have with me in the studio to discuss these issues in no particular order. Hannah Esen. Hannah, you're welcome to the show. Hannah is a teacher and a social commentator.
Thank you very much. Good evening, listeners and viewers.
I also have a Tini Bassi. Tini Bassi is a legal practitioner with Law Partners and Associates, and she is a social commentator. Tini, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for smiling, right? All right, let's look at it. The president has been sworn into office, and he hits the office running. He hits the ground running. Right now, we don't have much fuel, and all right, we have fuel. We can't afford it, but it's good for us at this point. We hope as we progress into administration, we will be able to be comfortable with the administration. All right, but what is important is that today, Femi Gbajabiamila has been named as the chief of staff to the president. It was expected anyway. And also, Senator, is it Ndume, has been nominated as the secretary to the state government. Likewise, in Akwa Ibom State has Prince Enobong Uwa as the secretary to government. Now, people are asking questions. How is it that the presidents are coming to, the presidents and governor, they've come into office and they're already appointing people, the house has not been inaugurated or proclaimed? Do they have powers to inaugurate or to swear in people, as it were, without the concurrent affirmation by the National and House of Assemblies? We'll look at it eventually. Also, we have to consider the presidency of the Senate. Our own former governor, His Excellency Godswill Akpabio, is currently running for the presidency of the Nigerian Senate. Wish him well, but people are really confused. How is it going to happen? He's on the south, and there are lots of late moves to unseat him. But I think he's gathered enough grounds to do that. But let's run this way. Hannah, I'm sure you're familiar with the fact that we've had some inaugurations or swearing-ins, the kitchen cabinets. A handful of people have been sworn in by the governor of Akwa Ibom State, and the president has followed suit with some very notable swearing-ins. Does it bother you to know why they are sworn in and ministers and commissioners are not sworn in yet?
I didn't know that because at least I've observed in previous administrations that the chief executive gives the list of people he wants to act as his cabinet members. That's commissioners for the state governor or ministers for the president. And I always see them go to the floor of the house and speak and are addressed by house members. Then the house members will
Sorry about that. So the house members will do what? All right, sorry about that impasse. Now, usually you have the National Assembly expect a list from the president, and this list is constitutionally provided for. The Constitution provides for several that for ministers and ministers of state, you send in from each of the states of the federation. That's for ministers and ministers of state, such that the appointment will cover the field, so everybody will not be left out. But when it has to do with the members of the kitchen cabinet, everybody expects worldwide that the secretary to government must be the right hand or the left hand of the governor. It has to be somebody that you can trust almost with your life, somebody you know can run your administration, can shoulder the burden of the state. So the performance of any governor or any government is largely rested on the shoulders of who the secretary to the state government is, because that is the administrative head of every. Well, we have permanent secretary government house, but usually permanent secretary government house is just for domestic affairs of the government house. But when you're talking about the major running of the state, it is on the shoulder of the secretary to the state government. Yes, Etini, you are also familiar with this, right? And probably, I'm sure you were asking questions on why you have those interim appointments before the main thing.
No, because the Constitution provides certain people that needs to be appointed, gives the president powers to appoint certain set of people before the general inauguration into the house and before other parts of inauguration. And then section 171 provides for office of the secretary of the state government, head of civil service, ambassador, high commissioner, and others. So the appointments are not totally out of place.
All right, so whereas you have these appointments, people are equally always worried that the House of Assembly is allowed to have a grip, or maybe some sort of grip. It's not allowed to have some sort of grip on who is appointed and who is not appointed, because at the end of the day, it always falls to the interests of either the president or the governor, or what is defined as the interest of the political party that's in power, right, Hannah? Yeah, that is what the law expects. Is that what the law expects? That most times the governor determines who he wants as commissioners, even when the law says they are nominated and sent to the National Assembly or State House of Assembly. We hardly have the House of Assembly screening out whoever should be commissioner.
Yeah, I've always wondered what would happen in the House of Assembly should disapproval of a nominee of the executive. Maybe, what does the law say if they do not accept? The governor has to bring another person. But the law should provide for that, a situation where the House of Assembly does not accept a particular nominee. So
ordinarily, because that's why the names go to the National Assembly or the State House of Assembly. Yes. It goes there because the law expects that they should approve or disapprove of such nominations.
Which means that the law provides that whoever is in the cabinet shouldn't be solely approved by the chief executive.
Exactly. Now, the law also understands that the executive arm, the governor needs to, or the president needs to work with men he's sure he can work with, and does not therefore give the House that latitude to object just for the purposes of objecting, because you want to frustrate
them. They don't nominate. He has to bring in his people.
Yes.
And they approve. So even if you want to disapprove 100 times, he'll still bring someone to eventually accept.
Yes, but yet it's rare. Yeah, because when the House is trying to impose on the governor who he wants, Now, the Constitution has now made an amendment. This in the 2023 amendment of the Constitution on that particular score. I'm sure you can recall that sometime in the administration of Muhammadu Buhari, at the beginning of his first term, we had about 6 months of emptiness. There was no ministerial appointments, and the president then was on the grounds that he made this position on the grounds that the permanent secretaries are working, and there was no money to fund.
True. I remember that was the complaint.
That there was no money to fund.
Took too much time.
Yes, it took so much time. People thought that he was confused about who to appoint because he didn't really expect to win the elections, as there were speculations of that nature. Some even thought that because of that there was instability in the economy, because people weren't sure of what the nature of his administration would be, because they needed to see who is the appointee that can define how the government is intended to run. The policy of the government will be defined by this kind of people. Yes, remember that period, right?
Yes, the recent amendment from the recent amendment, now the president and the governors have like 60 days to send in names of ministers and commissioners that they want to be nominated, like that they want to put in office, not later than 60 days.
Okay.
Yes.
To the
National
and State House of Assembly. But that's an innovation, because that lacuna in the Constitution was really worrisome. And the law did not say you can compel the president to nominate. The president felt he could run for 1 year plus. And that's his call. After all, they are supposed to be my executive my cabinet members. I say I don't want to have cabinet members yet. Allow me run until whenever I'm comfortable with them, and then I bring them in. So but now the Constitution was amended to cover that lacuna, to say, no, if you are the president, this is the latitude you have. Send in nominees, because the country is a democratic country. It shouldn't be run by one man. So you don't have a governor running alone or the president running alone because he feels it's as his whims and caprices to appoint people wherever he wishes to. No. The law, Constitution says you must run with a team of executive officers, which we call EXCO, either the federal EXCO or the state EXCOs. So if you are not comfortable with running with a team, then you don't have any business being the president or the governor. So now, the governors are limited in time. They have 90 days from the date of their swearing in to forward a list to the National Assembly or the state assemblies, as the case might be, of the people they want to run to use as EXCOs. And the Constitution has gone further to state that you don't just send in names and later on you come to give them portfolios. No, that those names must come with the portfolios. So if you are sending in a name of, say, Akpan Joshua Barnabas, you write behind it Ministry of Agric, and we'll ask Akpan Joshua Barnabas, what do you know about agriculture? You want to come and man the Ministry of Agriculture. Tell us your profile. Tell us your experience in the ministry. How can you succeed when you are high, maybe, what do you call him? You are a NASA engineer. You want to come.
So you're saying their qualifications must be based on what they know how to do.
Competence, because we want square pegs in square holes.
I was surprised because I used to think that the president sends in the names of his chief executive, sends in the names of their appointees with the ministry he has in mind for them. I was surprised when I learned that it wasn't that way, because I watched the last that of I think Buhari's second time around.
Okay.
And that was when I realized
the ministerial screening.
After the screening is when they are now given
portfolios.
Because I thought you should come in and defend what you're going to, how able you are to man this particular ministry. So I was surprised it wasn't done that way. So I'm very happy that it has been brought in now. You come and defend what you're coming to
exactly.
do that ministry.
Yeah, I'm wondering, are they appointed based on their educational qualifications or not?
Well, to me, I think they're appointed based on their party loyalties. Yes, you don't get just anybody. If you like, you go to Harvard and bring a professor, the party will not agree with you. The parties will believe that you should give one of us, we have been on this business for long enough. give it to one of us. Okay. Now, if you are giving it to one of us, let us have a level of competence. That way, we are safe with whoever we are appointing to that office. All right. That is how it is. So it's not basically that these people went to school. You can bring a farmer, a regular farmer that has primary 6, as long as in the National Assembly, as long as he has a qualification to contest as House of Representative member. I think that's what the Constitution says. Yes. Is qualified to contest as House of Representative member. He can be appointed a minister. He has the qualifications.
Okay, so what is the qualification to be a House of Representative member?
Well, usual qualification one, you must have a level of literacy, right? You are not excluded by the virtue of your conviction. You're a Nigerian, you know, you didn't have past conviction on financial issues that should exclude you for the next 10 years. You are a credible person, you know, somebody of impeccable character. And of course, he didn't say that you must be partisan, but I think I can add that you must be partisan. No, you don't have to be partisan anyway.
So what's the measure for impeccability of character?
Well, you see, there are people you nominate into office, and as soon as the nomination is done, the community will rise and say this man was a Boko Haram terrorist. Okay? And they have evidence of such, which is why these nominations go through screening. They go to DSS through DSS screening. They have people coming to oppose those nominations when they are in the floor of the House of Assembly or State House of the National Assembly. You come in and send in opposition to them. We don't want this man. This is what he did. This is who he is. Right? Okay. The qualifications he's presenting to you are fraudulent qualifications. You remember the Toronto story? The man that was to be vice, was it the Speaker of the House of Reps?
He was then Buhari. He was qualified.
Yeah, he was qualified. He was a Buhari name. But he had a Toronto certification. And they got to Canada and Toronto said, we don't know him. He's never been our student. And he had to excuse himself. What bothered me was that he was never arrested, tried, and convicted. He wasn't.
What was he to be arrested and tried and convicted?
Fraud. Falsification of information. Yes. Altering documents. Where did you get this result from? All right. So, gentlemen, let's take a short break. And when you come back, we'll continue from where we stopped. Thank you very much. The short break becomes.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by cross them. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my lord.
this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
All right, welcome back from the short break. My name is still Anthony Ebuga with Hannah Essien and Etini Basi. All right, we were talking about the National Assembly, the swearing in proposed nominations of national state commissioners and the federal ministers. Okay, and we are looking at the process of nominating and sending the names to the various houses of assembly. But I think we also have to look at the House of Assembly itself. The inauguration of the they call it inauguration or proclamation of the state assemblies and the national assemblies coming up very soon. Now, be done by His Excellencies, the presidents, and His Excellencies, the governors of the state. Now, that brings to mind what happened in the last assembly, especially in Delta State. Now, Delta State has a 24-man house of Edo State. Sorry, I keep adding Edo and Delta. They are the same people, but Edo State this time around. Now, they are supposed to have a 24th constituent assembly members. Unfortunately, for the last 4 years, they've been running with 10 representatives. Why did that happen? Let's have a little talk around it and see if we can forestall this happening again in future administrations. Okay. Now, Hannah, I'm sure you've had a little brush through it. Let's hear your view on that.
Well, the crisis ensued as a result of a proclamation. The 14 members who were left out of the assembly claimed that they were not properly served with the proclamation by Obaseki, the governor of Edo State then, for the inauguration. So they did not attend an inauguration that took place in the night. So 12 out of the 24 members did not attend the inauguration. So they were not inaugurated, and as a result of that, after 118 days this was the inauguration took place in June 17, 2019. By December, their seats were declared vacant, so they were locked out of the assembly. They were not allowed to be members of the assembly, the House of Assembly of Edo State. So the Edo State House of Assembly ran with the remaining 12 members. Actually, I understand that they're supposed to have 24. 14 people attended, then 2 were said to have absconded immediately after the inauguration. They didn't attend the plenary, so they were declared, their seats were declared vacant. What do they call the leader of the House of Assembly?
Speaker.
The Speaker of the House of Assembly used a section of the Constitution and declared their seat vacant. So the House of Assembly was running with 10 members up until last year. So I think that House still ran with those.
Okay, now that's
because when they went to court, what the outcome of the court then was, the court declared that the governor cannot make a proclamation twice. Having made that first proclamation, it stood. So whoever claims that he didn't hear, the governor cannot proclaim again and call for inauguration. So that was what happened.
My observation is that the constitution has said that there should be not less than 24 members in the House of Assembly, and then not more than 50 members. But then how can the House of Assembly be run by 10 members?
Okay, what the constitution meant at that point is not like there won't be more than it said. The constituents assemblies, constituents in a state, the state should not have less than 24 constituents house members. Not in practically speaking, 24 members must be inside the house. He said when you are dividing the donation of constituencies, they shouldn't be less than 24, it shouldn't be more than 50. All right. So Akwa Ibom could have 26, depending on how. That's why you have some states, you have Uburokara, Uburokara, you can mix. In some states, you have some local governments, it's just one local government. If there are 2 small local governments, you mix them. Where there are bigger ones, you might even share them into further divisions. All right. So that's what the constitution means. Going back to the proclamation, you see, the proclamation is supposed to be the inauguration of house members. At that point, nobody is an officer. It's the governor or the president that comes in to proclaim the house open. And then the business of the house starts with election of their principal officers. Now, where in this case, the governor had vested interest. The governor took them to government house. The story we have is that he informed just people that were loyal to him. The people that weren't loyal to him said they weren't informed. But he said they were all informed. And those that were in the house after the proclamation conducted themselves as the House, formed their leadership structure. The next thing was the others to come in and settle and be sworn in by the speaker, right? They had political differences. How would you ambush us? Why would the House be sitting in the government house? We are supposed to be distinct from this, and a whole lot of things happened.
Well, is there a time limit or when you can make the proclamation and then inaugurate the members like he did it at night? So I'm asking, is there a time limit for it?
Well, not necessarily that there's a time limit. If the proclamation is supposed to be done today across Nigeria, the governor can choose. Ordinarily, there is a national in the House of Assembly. You go to the House of Assembly, that's where the proclamation is done, not the government house. All right. Some people will be quarreling. We are waiting at the government at the House of Assembly. Others will sneak back to the government house and be inaugurated. And the governor will say, I can pronounce the proclamation can be done at any place. It's not necessary that it has to be at the House of Assembly. You know, then there used to be this story of the mace. Wherever the mace is, that's where the house is. People would take the mace. I remember a mace that was stolen and found under the bridge. I don't know if you remember that story. Yeah. Under the bridge in Lagos. Because they want to impeach. They will go to hotels in the dead of the night to impeach speaker with the mace. They say the mace was... So there's a whole lot of issues. But we'll open the phone lines right now. The phone lines are now open. The numbers to call is 090-222-31011. I repeat that number, 090-222-31011. The alternate number to call will be 070-454-17707. I repeat that alternate number, 070-454-17707. All right. Now, yeah, Hannah.
Yeah, I'm curious. A seat is declared vacant. What does the Constitution say? The member that was elected does not sit for 180 days. That's what the law says.
Yes.
So if he doesn't sit for 180 days,
the speaker
the speaker can declare his seat vacant. Now, when the seat is declared vacant like that, is it to stay vacant till the end of that house?
No. Yeah. Yes.
Or are the people supposed to present some other person to represent them?
Yes, they are supposed to present some other person.
So that means there should be another election to bring in somebody else to represent them.
Yes.
Okay, now what happened? Why wasn't that done when these 14 people were declared, their seats were declared vacant in Edo State?
Now, you see, that's where we have issues. That's where our laws have question marks. When you put responsibilities on those that, for instance, now the party is supposed to approach INEC to say, please give us, come conduct election for us to replace either our dead member or a sick member who cannot represent us or something. But now parties are under the tutelage or the authority of the governors.
Okay.
So who in the party would make that call?
Are you saying the executive is now interfering?
That's exactly what we are trying to say. So you have a situation where the governors have this iron grip on the House of Assembly. I'm thinking it would have been proper if the house was inaugurated along with the governors on May 29. All right?
Yes.
After the swearing, when the elections were concluded, they would have done their lobbying, get to elect their house members, or whatever they want to do. They should find a way to equate them. Because as long as you allow the governors to be the deciding factor on when the house is proclaimed, and before proclamation he has decided who should be the speaker and has brought everybody over, they've already defined those that are supposed to be recalcitrant and decide, okay, well, I don't want to work with this person, I want to work with this person. This should be the minority leader, this should be the majority leader, this should be this. So the governor has to endorse all the positions, approve all the positions, then ensure that you probably swear allegiance to him and be loyal to your government. He said, okay, if you're loyal to my government, you enjoy the largesse of my government. And probably goes ahead to even, I remember last time they used to say, the governors then be giving monies to the members of the dollars to members of the house to promote a particular candidate who he believes would toe his line. So when this happens, how can members have independence? 14 members of the House of Assembly were absent because they insisted on not being boys to the existing governors. And the governor said, I'm the one that pays the piper. I'll detect the tune. They stayed up for 180 days. They said, well, you are no longer members of the House. And there were no replacements for these members. At the end, the party said, okay, since you have been so loyal, we can give you automatic tickets. Is that office compensatory? They had a duty to perform, to represent their people. The people did not matter in the end. All right? So now,
so the people who are, because what I read, I saw arguments back and forth there. How could you leave these constituents unrepresented? And the other side was saying if they won't have infrastructure, say no, House members are not supposed to bring infrastructure. That budget covers. Well, they are just here to make laws. But I am wondering, we send someone to represent us in the House of Assembly, and nobody is representing us. Is there nothing
you can do about it?
Yes,
there's actually a lot you can do about it. Yes, I thought you wanted to say something.
You can go to court. Yeah, you can take the issue to court, take the matter to court, and then let the court decide on it.
Yes, so, exactly.
So how would it look? Who would go to court? What prayer would be presented in court?
The aggrieved members.
The aggrieved members can go to court.
Yes.
Apart from the aggrieved members, political parties. But the political parties are now in the pockets of the governors.
We saw the political party, because you said it's the party that would have approached INEC to say we want another election to be conducted. But when you say the political party approaches the INEC, the election, I mean, before, when we had the general election, it wasn't a candidate from one party that stood for election. Candidates came from different parties and people elected. So when a seat is declared vacant like that, does the seat have to be filled with someone from the party that vacated the seat?
That's a good question.
That a member that vacated the seat?
Not necessarily. Usually there is this recall mechanism where the constituency is expected to generate signatures and ask for a particular representative to be recalled from office. It's almost never activated. They've always attempted, but usually they have political solutions to those things. Maybe to scare you that we can recall you when the governor doesn't like you or the president doesn't like you. You see those kind of things attempt to happen. Now, that same mechanism could be used to say, this person was meant to represent us, it's not represented us for 180 days. We don't have effective representation, and we want him back so we can send in a new member. Okay? But where the political situation or environment does not promote this kind of liberal relationship between the constituents and the elected, it becomes difficult for you to even activate the constitutional provisions or the Electoral Act, right? So we're looking at the conversations around the swearing in of the eventual swearing in nomination of commissioners and ministers. One question somebody asked me was this: is it possible for previous commissioners of a state to, translate into present commissioners of states? Translation, right? Do you understand translation?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, let's have your understanding.
I guess what you're saying is somebody that was a commissioner or minister in the previous administration just continues into the new administration.
Same portfolios, same everything. Yeah, it's possible.
And it's possible if the new administration finds you so capable and nominates you again and presents you to the House of Assembly.
Very well, because the key word I wanted was nominate you again. What does the law say? It's in it.
But my question is, where there is no nomination and then they just transition into the next government, what then happens?
It shouldn't happen. It doesn't exist. Normally, usually, there is an what is called a dissolution of the exco. But I understand some states even dissolve their excos. I don't know why. But it's supposed to be a dissolution of the excos. The governor calls them together and say, well, gentlemen, you have served this state well. We appreciate your service. and we look forward to you serving in this capacity or higher capacity next time. We will call upon you whenever we need you. Thank you very much, and give them a golden handshake. Now, after that,
is the dissolution of the ESCO provided for in the
the
Constitution?
decision of every executive council is provided for in practice.
That's it.
In practice,
so
because
it is in practice, it's not in the Constitution.
It doesn't have to be in the
governor
Constitution. If a particular governor is contesting election, whether he wins or not, he has to be sworn in again.
Yes.
Even if he wins. So it means his former executive powers have been dissolved, and a new one takes effect from May 29. That's a new administration. So if he has government functionaries that were under his appointment, whereas he is interested in carrying on with them, he needs to dissolve that council and represent even the same names. If the national or state assemblies are comfortable with the new names that are coming in, then they go ahead and okay it. But if the constituencies now say, that person did not represent us well in your constituencies.
At the federal level, I understand that they're supposed to come from
all the states. So where the people are not satisfied with their performance, they have a right to protest to the executive to say, this person does not represent us. He brought a man from Igala and say he's from Etinan. We don't know him. We've never seen him before. But he says his grandfather was from here. Please, can you send somebody that is from here, somebody that understands our language, so we can relate with him properly?
So when do they have the time to do this screening and give feedback to the executive who's choosing this member? Because I heard you say you didn't learn. You said something like DSS, passing through DSS, and is it within these 9? You said 60 days.
Yes.
60 days.
So the process is what the executive that has been elected types out the names of.
He doesn't type the names.
So
people have to subject it to approval.
Okay, I think I should follow this way. People lobby, communities lobby, parties lobby, and please, can you appoint me as a commissioner? He said, we've already pinned down somebody from your village, from your community. We have to. The slot for your village is taken by so and so person. He's closer to the governor than you are. The governor is interested in this person. Where the governor does not have people, does not know people, he tries to identify the figures he calls party leaders in that area and say, who can we appoint from here? Do you have competent hands? They could say, oh, my son is in Calabar. He is this. He's head of so and so. He can be very useful for the administration. And the governor might say, okay, let's have him. And the DSS names and particulars we send to the DSS, who now would go through what is called background checks on the person. When the background checks are okay, his name can be listed amongst those that we send to the governor. But if he comes in with all these educational qualifications, and the governor already has somebody for commissioner, paying down for commissioner for education, you will ask him, where do you want to? You are a marine engineer, and we don't have a marine ministry for you. This kind of question. Yes.
Well, you know, they don't just come in like that, because the Constitution said that they have to be qualified.
Yes.
Those are appointed as commissioners have to be qualified to be elected as a member of House of Assembly of that state.
Yes.
So if you are not qualified to be elected,
just like national says, the ministerial appointment says you should be qualified to be elected as the House of Representatives. You too should be qualified to be a House member by ordinary qualification first before you can be considered. So if you don't have the basics requirements for contesting to be House member, then you might not be relevant. The numbers to call if you want to join the conversation is 090-222-31011. I repeat that number, 090-222-31011. The other number to call will be 070-454-17707. All right, so go on, Etini.
Yes.
You're looking at section what?
In section 192, that's on the commissioners, appointment of commissioners.
Okay, can you read it out for us?
Yes, it said there shall be such offices of commissioners of the governor of a state as may be established by the governor of the state. Sub 2. Any appointment to the office of Commissioner of the Government of a State shall, if the nomination of any person to such office is confirmed by the House of Assembly of a State, be made by the Governor of that State. And in making any such appointment, the Governor shall conform with the provisions of Section 14 Sub 4 of the Constitution. And then where a member of a House of Assembly or of the National Assembly is appointed as Commissioner of the Government of a State, he shall be deemed to have resigned his membership of the House of Assembly or of the National Assembly on his taking the oath of office as Commissioner. Then no person shall be appointed as a Commissioner of the Government of a State unless he is qualified for election as a member of the House of Assembly of the State. Appointment to the office of Commissioner under this section shall be deemed to have been made when a return has been received from the House of Assembly within 21 working days of the receipt of the nomination by the House of Assembly. That's all there is to.
All right, so the law there is trying to say that there's a process. First, you must have qualified to be even a member of the House of Assembly if you stood election. Second, that I think that's the one that caught my attention, that the governor reserves the right to define his ministries. If the governor says I have only 2 ministries, that's what stands so. So he has 2 commissioners. So if he wants to have 16 ministries, he designs the ministries to 16 and creates them by himself. The law does not say the House will define what ministries will exist in a state. He says the governors will define the ministries and now make nominations to that ministries. When these nominations are sent to the House of Assembly, the House of Assembly have 21 days, 3 weeks, to go through the nominated persons, invite them for interviews, invite them to meet with committees, try to ascertain that these persons have at least a basic requisite to contest for their office.
Linking it to the federal level, you said the governors define ministries, if that's the word you use.
Yes.
So linking it to the federal level, are you saying that the minister can dissolve any ministry he deems fit? Or sorry, the president can dissolve any ministry that he deems fit?
Exactly. The president can dissolve, the president can merge, the president can set a new ministry. If you wake up and say, okay, we don't want to have Ministry of Water Resources, let's have Ministry of Enjoyment and whatever was that called. Who remembers that ministry?
Governor created a commissioner for
happiness. And I think Akwa Ibom State should have that. We have happy hour about now, so we should have a commissioner for happiness and enjoyment, right? But you see, they left it, the constitution left it at the whims and caprices of the governor, not the National Assembly, not the State Houses of Assembly. As anyhow you want to. If you want to call it Ministry of Boreholes, it is your prerogative. You form a Ministry of Borehole as long as that government works. It's on your shoulder. So you design your government the way you want it to work. Okay?
So we have had traditional ministries. We've had ministries that have been there since I was a baby, like the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of
Works.
So I come in as a governor and I say, I don't want there to be a Ministry of Education anymore. What happens to the people who were working in that ministry?
Now, okay, you want to attempt, let's see how you go.
It's not necessarily about dissolving a Ministry of Education. You have to look at the important aspects of the government, the important aspect of what your citizens actually need. Education is one of the basic.
She's posing a question.
I decide that I don't want to have a Ministry of Education in my administration anymore because from what he has explained, the governor is free to do that. And I've listened and I'm imagining a governor decides, okay, let's leave education.
What happens to the staff? She's talking about civil service. All right, let's assist you there. Let's assist you there. Several, as long as you're a civil servant, you are posted to areas not because of your competence, but because you're a civil servant. They can post you from Ministry of Establishment to Ministry of Health. They post you to Ministry of Agri, that is interministerial postings, right? Now, if those ministries are dissolved and a new ministry is created, they could harvest those staff to work on that. They could just rename that ministry, and now their focus is different from the education they used to pursue. Now they are pursuing agriculture. They are pursuing mines and steel. But generally speaking, there are some departments and parastatals, like you said, there are fixtures. Wherever you go to in the world, there will be that ministry. The only difference might be in the nomenclature. All right, they can merge education and sports. They can merge education and women affairs.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it happen. You see something shifted from what used to be youth, sports, and culture. Suddenly, it's women and youth. I've seen it happen.
So it depends on the orientation of the governor, where he wants his priorities. Priority setting is what it's called. So it depends on where he wants to push the focus of his government too. If the focus of his government is in in health, you realize that the budget for health will increase, the staff strength of health will increase, and the health policies will be retweaked. All right. So it depends on what he wants. He has the right to decide. Only he has the right to decide.
Okay, so the amendment now is, before what we had there, the 21 days is still fixed for the members of the assembly.
Yeah, the 21 days is still fixed.
To decide on, look into, investigate the nominees, and decide on whether they agree with the executive, right? So what has been brought in is that the executive has been given a timeline.
60 days to present it.
Stay till whenever it pleases you to send a list to the House of Assembly. All right.
So I think you want to ask a follow-up question. What happens when he fails to do it within 60 days? Yeah, because that's a key question a lot of people want to ask. What if the governor or the president ignores the provision of the Constitution? It is a breach of the Constitution. He sworn on that May 29th, he swore to uphold the Constitution. Where he is in breach of the Constitution, he is liable to be impeached.
I think it is incumbent on him to actually have ministers, so he cannot.
So if he fails to do that by error or omission, he stands to be impeached. So the National Assembly can impeach him there forward, because it's a gross misconduct.
And that depends on if the National Assembly chooses to impeach him.
Well, that's another question. It depends on if the National Assembly chooses, which is correct, because most times we have impeachable offenses where the National Assemblies turn blind eyes to it. State House Assemblies turn blind eyes to it. They ought to be impeached, but they refuse to even start the process. But I think one other thing that we failed to state in that amendment is that beyond giving it 180 days, it also went ahead to say, yes, portfolios must be attached. Then, very curiously, 35% affirmative action. 35%. How can you put that in the Constitution? How do you even imagine putting that in the Constitution? That women be given 35%, men be given 75%. Now, it is disparity. I can choose to work with 100 women, right? So why do you make it a constitutional issue? Yes, it's not fair. 5%. No, because some people can now decide to use that to say you can't go beyond 35%. There are too many women in this cabinet. The law says 35%. So drop this person, drop this person. All right? So that's where I quarrel with that provision. Leave the gender issues out. Let it be an action that is taken by the government, bearing in mind that there needs to be equality. So if he has 50%, good. But when you say 35%, I would not want to go beyond 35%.
Well, I guess the 35% issue is to encourage that women be made to be part of.
So if I start as youth now and say 35% for youths, all right, gentlemen, I think we should be rounding up this session now. Hannah, what's your last word for today's edition?
Well, we look forward to better things in the new administration that has been inaugurated.
Okay.
I congratulate the president and then the governor of the state.
And the very fresh appointees. I see. Both of them are not lawyers. One is a lawyer, the other is not. 18 is a lawyer, and is not a lawyer. But they've done very well today, and we hope and wish that Nigeria will have a very bright future going forward. May 29 came and went, and there are other days that we're looking forward to. Maybe swearing ins and swearing ins and swearing ins. When we're done with the swearing ins, the work will really be. My name is Anthony, a legal practitioner with law partners and associates. I pray and hope that everything you do